it was a Forsyth bin. Is what I'm
But
saying.
that was the bass bin because they still had the Philly shavers for the mids and had the Midas horns and those blocked amplifiers that lit over Rex in them, whatever.
Right. Yeah, it was overall though, I gotta say, it was stunning. I mean, it matched the band's music. And I also saw that later with that production company did Gino Vanelli.
Yeah.
And oh Lord, that
was his brother mixing, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His brother Ross was mixing. Yeah.
Yeah. It matched. I mean, it was a perfect match, and nothing. I mean, I love Line Array. I love everything. Okay. I'm being told to shut up.
Nobody told you to shut up.
The thing about the Martin.
Okay, welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. Everything you hear today is opinion. We're in the process of a conversation about Supertramp's PA. So back to the action.
Okay.
I was going to say the combination of that band, that PA, and that live sound engineer.
Right.
When I say to people that live sound could actually sound better than the record, that's what I'm talking about. That combination.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Well, it's like a record with way more dynamics,
Yeah.
But who also always sounded really good? I've seen Boston a bunch of times, and Yes. Yes blew me away because they were so powerful.
Yes.
And you didn't realize that when I had seen Yes Supertramp, or not Supertramp, damn it, Rush. When I saw Rush, I took my son.
Rush is totally different, yeah.
Yeah, I took my son to see Rush, and I had no idea. I thought to myself, wow, this isn't very loud at all, until I went to talk to him. And he's sitting right next to me, and I couldn't talk to him. And then I realized it's like, holy shit, they must have had so much power.
Gigs until 1979.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were the ultimate. I mean, they were the ultimate support band. And they were great.
Yeah, and Boston, I loved Boston.
Yeah,
I saw Boston in
1980s though.
Well, Boston, but a little bit before, 78, 79. I saw Boston in New Haven Coliseum, like, a week before it caved in from the snow. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. New Haven Coliseum and Providence. I remember with Aerosmith Rocks Tour, we did New Haven. We first did Providence, and then we went to New Haven Coliseum, and then a hurricane came by.
Oh, a hurricane!
And so of course,
Christopher, you're sideways.
Engineer on the totem pole, I had to ride with the truck driver because we left the hanging PA in, and and so I rode with the truck driver to retrieve it. And on the way back, going down, there's 60, 70 mile an hour winds. And I look out, the mirror, and I see the Aerosmith logo in the right-hand mirror.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, Lord. And so, that was with Boom Boom, Gil's son. So we survived, and the gear survived.
Wow.
And we all got spiffed, not only money, but also a currency at that time was, maybe something else.
So
maybe something else.
Coming back to Supertramp,
I'm sure it was hot tea and biscuits.
Yeah,
right.
Well, let's put it this way.
What were you going to say, Ken?
I said
coming
the
back
weather
to Super
outside
Tramp,
was
what you
frightening,
remember?
but it was snowing.
Do you guys remember the lighting rig on that tour?
Yeah.
In America, it was all Lecos.
Yep.
Very theatrical.
You know what I always
And
used to tell the
Brett-
lighting guys? I never walked out of a show because it looked bad.
But
No,
but that was
no,
always the thing they did.
there were lighting gigs there were lighting. No, there were lighting stuff at that time that broke, that absolutely set the new norm. Especially because, there was how many park cans?
Go, man. Go, go, go. Man.
And
Oh, he
how
wants to
many
go all
park
the way
cans
over.
can?
Okay.
Hey,
Sorry, man.
Chris.
Tried. Yes?
Yeah, can
Christopher
you
here.
mute? We're hearing you.
I'm just having a little fun with drivers getting ready to give a courteous gesture to the guy in front of me, but I'll stop talking.
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Now you're going. I love it, coming and going. Okay.
But you're right, Ken, in that was started the groundbreaking things that happened. All of a sudden after that we started moving trusses, and it was not only C Factor but all those people that just did amazing things at that time.
To this day, my most favorite experience was going to see Queen, the band Queen, at the Forum in Los Angeles, and that was the first time I saw the trusses moving with the lights in conjunction with the music. It was amazing to me. To
I
this day, I
wish
still
I had
remember that.
seen Queen. I wish I had seen Queen. Oh my
Great
God.
show.
I worked for Malcolm Hill. We did Live Aid. Enough. I'm captured on film, and I had
Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Bohemian Rhapsody? Because I didn't
Yep.
see you in it.
Yeah, it
I
was
looked for
excellent.
you there.
Actually, they had a wonderful stand-in who did the exact thing that I did. I handed the mic, the half mic stand with the silver. It was an SM58, but it had the silver cover on it from one of the other ones. I was the guy who handed it out. They
To
did
Freddie?
really good. And
You hand the mic to Freddie?
yeah.
My God, you are famous. I knew it. I knew it. Next time I see you, I'll get an autograph.
The reason why I was picked because in 1970, I'm thinking 73, 74, Queen played the Columbus Agora, and they were the first person to come in with a 32 channel Sun mixer.
And how funny.
Wow.
and so then I had to sit there with I don't even know what the name of the mixer that I had, but I had to do monitors for them on the side of the stage.
What?
And I found out very quickly that the gentleman liked having a young guy with long hair around. And I kind of figured out the equation then. And I never for them.
So question, whatever happened to the Studio Master mixers? Remember they had those big meters?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw a couple of those in the late 70s, and then I never saw them ever again. What the hell? Anybody know what happened to those?
No, I mean, when I first started in 1970, the Columbus Agora had 16 channels of launch bin mixers. The first 8 channels had high pass and low pass filters and switchable EQs, plus or minus 1.5 dB at 3 different frequencies. No pots on it. You just if you want to boost your mids, you choose 2.5K. If you want to boost your you choose that, and those had Tater. The second 8 channels, no EQ. But we had almost $500,000 in microphones locked up in a safe.
Wow.
And that's how we did it. And Gray Ingram, some of y'all know Gray Ingram from SSL. He designed that system. And again, it was all JBL stuff. And we had Marantz 250s as amplifiers, and with the blue lights and
Marantz 250s. That's funny.
And every single transducer had their own channel on a Marantz 250 and it was 3-channel at that time, and it was brilliant. I mean, the Columbus Agora, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I heard Bruce mention the Kelsey, which was actually my first show. My first show was on a Kelsey. My first show was on a Kelsey.
Pro Club Tour 24. I put a picture of it a couple of meetings ago. Yeah, I have it on my desktop if you want it. But yeah, it was a great. I remember it was the black wedge, man. It looked so cool. It was a babe magnet for sure in the clubs.
Oh, there we go. Walking down memory lane once again. I love it.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
my fond memories. I remember the first time I picked up a mic cable. I said, "Oh my God!"
And you tied her up with it.
How about Fred's first console?
Yeah, no, Bruce. Did you complete the circuit?
Did I complete the circuit?
Yeah, with the mic cable.
A few times.
I know. I'm trying to be, I mean, it's our 250th show. I'm trying to, add a little Landy levity in.
So you know what I think? I think we need to hear an update from Christopher on how he's doing in the whole cluster of the beach.
Yeah, it's just basically the clusterfuck continues. There's really not a whole lot of news. If there weren't double standards, there would be no standards at all. So we're just waiting for clarity. I mean, I had a contractor talk to somebody at the state level, and they're like, contractors don't need a hazmat endorsement to clear the debris, but it's a requirement in the software that issues the permit. So
interesting.
Everybody's it's just really awful. But other than that, it rained today, and apparently it's going to rain again tomorrow. So that's not good.
The brunt of it is tomorrow. It's been raining on and off here since last night, when we're in La Crescenta area.
Yeah. By the way, Chris, did you start a GoFundMe or a fans only page?
Fans only?
Oh yeah, only fans. I'm just doing a little whacking for cash. It's awesome. Yeah, I gotta.
I have an extra.
I made $2.50 over the last month, so it's pretty good content.
I
think
lucky.
If you did a sexy dance in the middle of all the ashes, I think you'd probably you'd be a rich man.
I'd probably throw out a hip, and then I would break my sconnected joint, and then I'd have to go to the hospital.
The one thing though I saw on the news, Chris, is that after all this time, I think Monday, somebody's cat who was in Upper Palisades was reunited with her owner.
Wow.
And who had been living throughout all of that. And somebody found her and she was chipped. And then they put the two people together.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know my neighbor lost her animals, and that's just really just adding salt on the wound. It's bad enough, and then you think about your poor animals that didn't make it. A lot of people left honestly thinking they'd just be out for a couple hours, and then it would,
Right.
the all clear would happen, and they would come back, and yeah, that's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really is. But it was wonderful. It even made it to TMZ. So, I mean, I don't know. I just happened to see it and I went, holy shit. And I said, all right, if it's on there, I better go ahead and, everything's an opinion. I did my own research. And so, yeah. Okay, there's your disclaimer.
Yeah, that's the
Thank
whole
you.
thing.
Yeah, remember everything here today is an opinion.
I'm doing my own research. I just want a USAID grant for $5 million so that I can, find out about the migratory habits of sea shrimp. Something exciting.
No, the pollution of Malibu Bay.
There you go. There you go. I could like fly all over the world and take water samples at prestigious hotels for like a month.
Yeah,
that would be that's a good one.
Yeah, especially if you have anything to do with the molecules in it.
Oh yes, molecule is my middle name. I mean, absolutely.
Because right now, cellular reprogramming is now hailed by its supporters as the most promising scientific approach to improving human health.
Well, there you are.
That's funny.
Hip hip hooray!
So
nobody here is from. Well, anyway, screw that. That idea. Forget it. I didn't want to talk about that anyway.
Why isn't Wayne here today? Our Australian buddy on the 200 and 50th
well,
show.
I think basically he's on his way to Saudi Arabia.
That's right. He was doing a show or something. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just want to give you all a tip if you're looking for work. Okay. So, we all know Saudi Arabia, we think of them as oil and, more oil and even more oil. Well, anyway, believe it or not, they are putting in the next sphere. You know that, right? They're putting it, and listen to this. Saudi Arabian tourism sector has soared. It's basically now a record 11.5 of their GDP.
Wow.
Now, the reason I bring this up is because it drew in 30 million international visitors last year. It's a 9.4 increase from the year before, and they have decided that they want to become the entertainment capital of the Middle East.
And the new Vegas, the new Dubai.
Can actually, I say? Is it?
They're bringing in Formula One. They're bringing in FIFA. They're bringing in. Excuse me, Greg. Right? Okay. Nothing personal. I love you, but we can only one of us can talk at a time. And anyway, they're also bringing in FIFA. They got the World Cup, and they've got Formula One. So if you're looking for a gig right now, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of opportunity there, especially for a sound company to start, marketing to Saudi Arabia and figuring out how to get involved with that. Anyway, Greg, what were you saying?
Is that Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates?
Saudi Arabia.
No kidding.
Yep,
that's
Saudi Arabia.
And I apologize, Dan.
Well, they also got the golf tournaments now, and they also have the tennis tournaments,
yeah,
right?
They were a huge investor in Live Golf, but the question is, are they going to make the same mistake on the Sphere's audio system?
I wouldn't know. They're not talking to me personally. I'm just reading it in the newspaper, whatever. So, but I thought it was kind of interesting that they realized that oil is not going to be around forever. I mean, it's going to be around in our lifetimes, our kids' lifetime, but eventually we're going to have to, as a society, we're all going to have to wean off of the natural, that natural gas and oil and everything. But it's not going to happen in our lifetime. You know how many things we depend on for oil and gas.
Everything is made out of oil. Everything.
And if you haven't
pharmaceuticals, everything.
if you haven't seen, what's it called, Landman? I think it's on Amazon.
Landman.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely
with Billy Bob
brilliant.
Thornton.
Yeah, really brilliant. series.
It's Paramount Plus, isn't it? Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it's Paramount.
But
Plus.
it's available on Amazon. I think you can pay. But yeah.
Oh man, I saw the first one because it was on my local Paramount. I don't have Plus, but what's his face that did Yellowstone? Oh my God, I want to see the
Taylor.
Yeah,
you realize that guy has the top 3 shows.
I want to
Taylor
see
Sheridan is his name.
Yeah, I want to see the rest of his shows, but I don't get Paramount Plus, and I don't know if I want to pay for that or not.
That dude is responsible for about half of Paramount's revenue.
Right.
Man,
Right.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He also does
1923 and Yellowstone. Yeah.
Yep, 1923, and the other one before that too. There was one before
Yellowstone.
Right. Well, there's Yellowstone, which is the third in the series chronologically, 1923, and then there's like 18 something or other. The whole family started, and oh my God, it's just amazing,
But he also
the guy's
does Tulsa
he's a great storyteller.
Yeah,
what's that, Greg?
Absolutely.
He also does Tulsa King.
Yes, Tulsa
That's
King.
That's a great show too. I love it.
Yes.
They got re-upped for the 3rd season. Dick Hansen, everybody knows him as Rabbit. He's the production audio engineer for that series. So he, Dick Hansen was with IES for a long time, and he was Joe Perry's guitar roadie, and he's also been in A League of Their Own as a crew guy, got pulled in to be on screen, and so IMDb him, Richard Hansen. Amazing.
That name sounds familiar.
He's an amazing engineer.
I'll bet there's more than one Richard Hansen in the world.
Yeah, those are two pretty familiar names. Yeah,
Dick Hansen, AKA Rabbit in the music world.
Well, there you go. That's good news. Hey, listen, I just got a text. I'm going to show it to you because I can't even believe it myself. But could you see it?
Thinking out loud, how many?
2,500 plays on Spotify.
Wow.
I don't know. People are, I love it. Thank you guys for being so intellectual and, well, that's a lie. All right.
Is that what you're choosing to call it?
Actually, that's why Jan is so tired, because he watched the fucking thing 2,500 times in a row in order to get
screw that shit. I can't fucking believe it's daylight savings time, and I hate daylight savings time. It really it screws up everything, because it's now I have to get up an hour earlier to do this show.
That's right, for the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's throwing my whole life cycle off.
I'm going to go offline for a minute. Okay.
All right. We're sorry to lose you. All right. An important call. Got a bigger name on the other line. I love it.
A bigger name on line too.
That was live. I love it. Was calling on line too. Yeah, that was it.
I'd like to know what gig. I'd like to know what gig Fred is on today.
Yeah, Freddie, where are you?
I'm at the studio where I always am, doing Sons.
In the truck?
No, I'm at the Cronkite. Here, let me turn you around here. Let me see. Where's my little turner arounder thing? There you are. Yeah, see, I'm sitting in front of the Studer.
Beautiful studio. Beautiful studio.
Yeah, it's nice. Wow.
You go in here.
Beautiful studio.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow. Holy smokes. Wow.
And then up here, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's just beautiful. That's beautiful. And they put you in a closet. Unbelievable.
They put me in a closet, yeah. and then this is
nobody puts baby in a closet. Nobody puts baby in a closet. That's it, you know.
Here's the studio. We got a jib.
Hey, Fred, is that Studer a 5 or a 1?
I don't know. It's half dead. It's a Vista 5. But you see this whole section over here? It's not lit up. All the monitor section. The only thing that works is the VU meters. All of this is all dead. It still works. It just doesn't light up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So,
very, very interesting there.
That's right.
Anyway, so do you know about these, right now, the way we tell time is through atomic clocks. They lose like minuscule seconds. But now what they're finding is that countries are jamming GPS, and that's how airplanes land. And there's some scientists, and I believe they're in England, that they are working on a miniaturized optical clock that uses atomic power. It's going to be really tiny. They'll put it in planes because basically it would comprise a miniature optical clock as well as a tiny gyroscope. And we know which direction we're going in, and a device called an accelerometer, which will tell us how fast we're going. And so there has been more than 800 cases of GPS interference. And if they could develop this and put it in planes, they won't have to count on GPS anymore. They'll have it self-contained with them as they fly. Pretty impressive, hey?
That's cool.
Speaking of planes, you see that the owner of that, the president of the company that's doing that plane that can go 2 times Mach and the speed of sound, and he had to go to Washington and lobby for them to release the ban or make it illegal that you can't go over Mach, can't go over the speed of sound, because he was proving them how he could do.
Wow, I didn't know
speed
that.
of sound without the sonic boom.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Did you know you can't go faster than the speed of light?
Mass becomes infinitely large at the speed of light.
Yep.
You can't go faster than the speed of light, otherwise their molecules would fly apart.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I wonder if they'll ever figure that out, that you could go and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to think that we're watching things that happened or not we personally, but scientists are watching things that are 50 million years that took place in the past. 50 million years, because the light took that long to get here at light speed.
Exactly. And this is one of the reasons why there's a strong argument against extraterrestrial visits to the world, that we're on, because in order for them to travel those distances, they would have had to have figured out how to move faster than the speed of light. And if that is really a particle physics truth, then it kind of there must be another way, but as far as we know,
of course there is. We all know it. It's called warp speed.
Warp speed, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Christopher,
one of those things.
So Chris, the other side of that is, and I totally agree with that, but the other side of that is, I find it hard to believe that we're the only intelligent creatures in the universe.
Absolutely.
I have such a hard time believing that,
Yeah, traveling at the speed of light is a different issue, but no, totally. I totally believe there's life elsewhere, but
yeah. In fact, every time I drive across the desert at night or during the day, which I do quite often, I'm always driving somewhere, I keep an eye out, like, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where like shit started happening when he pulled up to the railroad tracks, I mean, I almost look for things as I'm driving along, because I can't believe that I'm going to live my whole life and not see, some spaceship go whizzing by or something.
There was an actual, there was the first time case of somebody being killed by a meteorite just out like walking.
It just fell on his head or something?
happened for the first time that we know of, that somebody took a meteorite to the head and didn't make it.
Wow.
Well, guess what? I mean, speaking of this, Chris, NASA just returned an asteroid samples. You know about that, right? They landed a probe on an asteroid, right?
Yep. You bet.
Well, they found out that the returned asteroid samples hold the ingredients of life from a watery world.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I can say, you know what? I'll tell you what. Normally, I don't throw links in the chat, but in this case, and so they say that we might all be from aliens now. That's what they
that's
think.
entirely possible. I always thought that was kind of possible.
Well, I mean, if you look at the massive craters on Earth, or sorry, on the moon, we know that we got hit with massive amounts of meteorites. So that could have been,
yeah.
you know, the
Well,
basis
we came
of,
close this time around too.
There's
we
craters
came
here.
close.
There's craters here. We don't even have to look at the moon. There's craters here.
Oh, there have to be. Yeah, I mean, they can't be on the moon and not on Earth. You know, just look at the cavernous craters where water is in the ocean. I mean, yeah.
Well, the one in the movie Starman? I mean, that's in the southern state. I mean, that's a crater.
Right. It's in Arizona. You know? Yeah, I've been to that one. It's about 2 hours. Here. It's about 2 hours east of Flagstaff on the 40.
Yeah, it's up by Flagstaff. It's called Meteor Crater.
Meteor Crater. It's amazing.
Yeah. But then there's
I've been to Area 51.
Isn't there the one in Puerto Rico where they actually put the
Arecibo.
radio telescope?
Right, the dishes they're big dishes inside that crater. Yeah,
Arecibo. Yeah.
I thought the big one was in Mexico.
There's three giant ones, which is how we can talk to all of our missions, 24 hours a day, because they've positioned them around the globe so they can triangulate. But a friend of mine was a very good friend of mine, was one of the project coordinators on one of the Mars missions and worked at NASA. He's got like 2 doctorate degrees in one's in theoretical physics and the other one's in some crazy goddamn thing I've never heard of. But he was just this he's a real rocket scientist, but he was so funny because he was head of the scout troop and my kid was in scouts, and we used to sit around the fire and after all the kids went to bed, I'd break out a bottle of wine. I'd say, "Okay, Carl, tell me all the things you're not supposed to tell me." And I'd keep giving him wine until he talked. It was so funny. But I went to one of the NASA days. If you're ever in LA, once a year, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory has an open house, and it doesn't cost anything.
JPL is cool.
Oh my God, it's so worth doing. It's worth driving here to go do that. It's just so cool. But so I was talking to them about how they keep in touch with their projects when they're, when the Earth moves around the sun and all this kind of crap, and they were explaining how the big satellite dishes that are like 300 and some feet across, there's 3 of them. There's one in Puerto Rico and one here in
Puerto Rico's gone.
Is it?
Yeah. It collapsed. And
yeah, that was Radio Arecibo.
2021.
Yeah, that was Radio Arecibo. That was not a movable dish. That was just a fixed dish.
Right. Yeah, that was fixed.
It crashed. Yeah, it broke all apart. It got sun rotted.
So one of them's in Gladstone, which is up in the desert here, and they gave us Carl got us permission to go get a tour of Gladstone. So we got up at 5 a.m, and a couple of friends of mine, and I brought all my insurances because I have to do a background check and everything. And we drove up there. It was a couple-hour drive, and this lady met us and got us onto the big base up there. And then we drove like 45 minutes and got to this like 400-foot satellite dish that was like sitting in the middle of the desert. And we went into the building and got to meet everybody that's like tracking all this stuff, and then go down into the tunnel and walk through the tunnel out to the satellite dish and then see all the gearing. And what was really the funniest part of the whole thing was it was a hot day that day, and all the wild animals, like the goats and that are wandering around in the desert, they all try to find shade, and they're all standing in the shade of this 400-foot satellite dish, right? And you could find it on Google Maps. It's up there. And as the dish moves, because it tracks as the Earth is moving, right? All the animals like follow the shade. It was just so funny.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, have you guys heard of Pine Gap? You know what Pine Gap is?
No.
Oh, Google it. Pine Gap. Basically, Pine Gap, what Pine Gap is, it is a joint Australia-United States satellite communication signal system. There was a show, I think it was on Amazon, really, really good. Basically, it's really high clandestine satellite observance of what's going on in the world. Wow. Pine Gap.
There's an observatory actually in Australia. I think they made a movie of it, actually. It's north of Melbourne. I wish Wayne was here, but he'd know about it. The same guy who was in the movie, it's the same guy who was in the first Jurassic Park as the scientist, the first scientist, whatever his name is. But it's about this radio telescope in Australia, and they're picking up John Glenn as he's orbiting the Earth in the early 60s.
Wow.
So I just wanted to mention I had to step away. My house is officially closed. I am selling my house. Tomorrow morning, I will close on the contract that's waiting for me to my new house. Thank God.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Where are you moving?
About a half a mile from here.
Oh,
further away from the beach? Further from the beach?
Yeah, no. Yeah, yes, I am. But it's just it's time for me to downsize. And I'm in a house that was built it's a rambler. The section of my house was built in 1947. Another section was built in the 60s. Another section was built in the 80s. I've gone ahead and built and sold another house right next to me, but I'm done with it. At 70 plus X. Yeah. And
so did you buy a condo or something?
No, I'm going to a manufactured home. Hey,
those are built really well now, man. They are unbelievably well built.
Very little tornadoes here in Florida, and those tornadoes are in the middle. And yep, when hurricanes come by, all of my stuff is going into secured storage in Kansas. In a salt mine in Kansas.
Good for you, man. Good for you. I was going to ask you about that, but I changed my mind. So there you have it.
Yeah. So we saw David Dansky come up and say, "Hey." So
well, that show is over, but that must have been a very fast show.
Maybe maybe they do more than one set.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's right. They do. They do 2 sets. They take a break. It's a lot going on there.
Both sets because they're 2.5 hours for myself, and I'm an old man and I don't like driving at night in Florida because there's too many wackos.
Well, soon coming to a neighborhood near you, and actually right now, Uber in Austin, Texas, just launched Waymo, and so now if you're in Austin, you now have a robot, automatic driven car, no driver, just the Waymo, and that's now happening. And I'm sure that after it's successful in Austin, it's going to be spread throughout everywhere.
You know what? They got a bunch of those in LA now, and they're all Jaguar, the little sport utility Jaguars.
Take care, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Hey, remember,
guys.
You don't look anything like Waymo, okay? And by the way, if that GoFundMe thing, get a razor. I'll tell you, that's what I could say.
Oh, you think I should shave it? Maybe I'll shave it. That'll get me some more cash.
Yeah, baby. There you go.
Well,
have somebody shave it. Have somebody shave it for you. That'll even get you more cash. There you go.
Maybe that'll be the thing that I'll post up there, and then I can maybe get $5. Which
fans only, baby. Fans only.
I'm working my way up to getting enough money to buy a drink.
Whoa,
very nice.
A gig down there with David. Here they are.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to watch Hotel California.
See you guys.
Let me see if I can pin that for a second for David. So we'll see.
I see what he's doing there.
Yeah, you see it? There it is. That's Hotel California.
Sort of little tiny the David picture up on my screen here.
But
Yeah,
what's amazing about this is in the what's the name of that community? It's a little community. The villages in Florida,
just south of Ocala, Florida.
Yep, there you go. So
The
very, very nice.
of the Florida Turnpike and I-75.
AKA,
there you have it.
Also known as the STD capital of the world.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's true.
Must be the Cialis and Viagra capital of the world as well, too.
There's more. Put it this way: there are more golf carts in the villages than there are automobiles.
Yeah, I was surprised to find out about that whole scenario. But thanks to Viagra and Cialis, these old retirement communities, or the old age retirement communities, the sexual activity going on over there is off the hook, and because they can't get pregnant, they're getting all these STDs.
Well, everything in his opinion. Please do your own research.
Yeah, well, I don't plan on doing any research over there, that's for sure. I'll just take somebody's word for it. There you go.
I'm sure there are many communities in Arizona that are just like that, but so I'm told, but might be, might not be.
So anyway, speaking of those communities.
Go back to the Waymo for a second. My friend Jason was in a Waymo this morning. He came from the airport. He was driving down the street, and somebody had a sprinkler that the cap had come off, and it was spraying water out on the street, and it freaked out the Waymo, and it had to pull over and call support.
Well, better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry, because if anything goes wrong, they're going to be in trouble.
There was a video of a guy who was at Phoenix Airport, and his robo taxi was driving around. It was freaked out, driving around in circles because Wayne Sims wasn't the passenger. So
Hey, Wayne Sims just walked in the room. We could ask him about the satellite dish in his neighborhood.
How's it going, all? Afternoon.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, Wayne, are you familiar with Pine Gap?
I know where it is. It's very remote where it is.
Yes. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Not really, because no one's allowed.
I know you're under an NDA. I got it.
But isn't there a radio telescope like north of Melbourne that was quite famous? They shot a movie there. Maybe
was it up near Parks? You're talking about the one at Parks?
Yeah, the big radio telescope.
I think there's one at there's a few about. I don't follow them hugely, but there's one in Canberra, I think, and there's one up near and you won't know or you might know where Canberra is, of course, but you won't know where Gilgandra is. Gilgandra is up near the Queensland border. There's one there somewhere. And that's a big telescope. There's one at Parks, which was famous for being part of the moon flight.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the one I'm thinking about. Yeah. Yes, they made a movie about it.
Yeah, they did. Yes, I think they did. And the Pine Gap is joined with the USANs.
Oh,
that's right. It's a secret. It's a very secretive. It is the spy satellite base. That's what it is.
Yes,
spy satellite.
I believe.
By the way, Wayne, what's all this aversion with you here in the background with all these cocks? What's the story there? Are you trying to tell us something?
No. They're just chickens, as you call them.
Oh, they're just chickens. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and chooks, and do you see that? Oh, wait there. Can I get out of the way of that one? See that? That's a house of speakers.
House of speakers. Well, there you go.
Okay.
I'll change it when you go live. I'll just go back to my normal one. And then I found
very nice.
And that's the happy quokkas, which are native to Australia. And they live in Western Australia on an island called Rocknest. There's a piece of trivia for you. Friendly little chaps. They're known as the happiest animal in the world.
And they're chooks,
very nice.
Right? They're called chooks, right?
No, that's the chooks, the ones on the top there. Those other little characters.
Okay.
Now, do they have thumbs?
They're like a little kangaroo.
Okay, because this week, March 3rd was National If Pets Had Thumb Day. Just after I happened to listen to one of my shows that I watched too.
And did you know that it's 244 years since the planet Uranus was discovered today?
Really?
I wonder why they called it Uranus. It's not a very nice name for a planet, is it? Uranus.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Probably means something in Latin.
Yeah, probably does. Yeah.
Either that or a scientist really ticked off at the people that turned down his grant. You know.
I've always been amused with the name of that planet, but Uranus.
Those are fighting words. Excuse me, sir, Rain. Well, Uranus to you too.
So what's happening in Ken Porter's Nashville area?
Just a lot of stuff going out the door, getting ready for the year.
Oh, what are you? I've been watching Australian Idol, which has been... I've got right into that and The Voice in the last few episodes. I get me bloody cookies and me coffee or get me drink and get right in. The judges on the Idol have been great. They add a bit of stuff, and the artists have been fantastic, really have. There's quite amazing how, Australia's got 28 million people and they keep finding singers. And anyway, it's great. I've been enjoying it. It's been going, and they're up to about where the audience vote now. I keep voting for the band because the band's really good. And they're all very good. There's some great artists. There's one artist. There's a fella called Marshall Hamburger. And he's really good. If he was a songwriter, I think and then I got 5 favourites. And one young girl who's 16 from Cold Can, just down the road from here, where I live, and the other one, another 16-year-old from South Australia, Adelaide. And then there's a swing singer. They're fantastic. And they're my favourites. They're my 5 favourites on the show, but they're very, very good. Very, very good.
An amazing amount of talented people out there, amazing amount of super talented people that never get the opportunity. But you know what blows me away about the most about these shows, and I'll tell you, and it makes me cry too, and for various reasons. But when somebody gets out there and they are very talented, but for some reason they don't know how talented they are, and the audience stands up and gives them a standing ovation, and they break down and start to cry because it's beyond anything that their emotions can handle. It makes they're so real at that point in time that this is the opportunity they've waited for their whole entire life in their imagination, and now it finally comes pass that people really respect what you are able to accomplish, what you were able to provide them. It's amazing how many opportunities that come out of that show for these people, and I am so happy for them. It's
there are
amazing.
negative connotations in that. I remember doing it was a New Year's Eve show. I think it was about 4 years ago, and a gentleman who was 3rd on American Idol was the 4th band. So there were 3 other bands on this stage in front of him, and he came up and said, and I was sitting there as a production manager, and he goes, "Y'all need to strike all this gear. Do you realize that I was on American Idol?" And I said, "No. If you want to play at this gig, dude, this is what you got." And if you don't want to do it, you better talk to the people who guaranteed your stuff. And then they came over and said, Greg, can't you do this? And I said, dude, no. You've guaranteed all these other people money. I don't know what you're paying them. I don't give a shit. And the guy came up and said, you'll never work in this business again. The classic line.
Oh, you'll never work in this business again. Every time we do this show, I think I'll never work in this business again.
I went, all right, dude. And a year later, I mixed the Artemis Artemis 1 launch for NASA. And while that was going up, I just said, yeah, I'll never work in this gig again.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to, I understand how it can go to people's heads, know, but there was this guy, I can't remember his name right now, and he got the golden buzzer on America's Got Talent, and he did a Journey song. I forgot the guy's name. He was a janitor, and he came off, and he was, he didn't look like somebody who would ever have a good voice, and he nailed it, and I mean nailed it beyond the shadow of a doubt. He did that. He did, what's the famous Journey song?
Well, yeah,
don't stop believing. Don't stop believing. Don't
Lights.
stop believing. And I forgot his name. We could look it up, but not right now. And he was so humble, and he broke down and cried. And of course, he went on. Now he's touring. He's now a touring act because his voice is phenomenal. But he was a janitor in school.
Is Carrie Underwood? There's also, you can talk about Adele.
Was she on America's Got Talent?
I don't know. It was a show like that. I'm not
the Voice, I think.
Huh?
So wasn't the Journey, the Filipino Journey guy? Didn't the band find him in a club? He was singing. He was singing a Journey song with a. What a story!
They found him on YouTube. There was a whole documentary.
Is that what it was? Oh my God, what a story. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, going to Manila, if you're going to go out and you're there in Manila and you have people who know, you hear these amazing cover bands.
Really?
People, and they're not doing like what Hotel California does. They jump from this artist to that artist to that artist to that artist, and they're amazing. It's like if you went during the heyday of heavy metal, if you went to clubs in Norway, the audio engineers in Norway, the heavy metal audio engineers in Norway were frightful. I mean, they were so good.
In clubs, huh? That's great.
Yeah, in clubs. It
wow.
was.
I'm not sure why, but I've been noticing that some of the, like for example, Volbeat. Ever heard of a band called Volbeat? They actually opened for Metallica a couple of tours ago. Their records actually sound at least as good as Metallica, and they're produced over there. There's some really seriously good producers out that way right now. I mean, amazing.
I mean, there are some amazing cover bands. Look at Hotel California, what David is doing. If you haven't seen them, they sound as good as the band. They sound as good as the Eagles. I mean, I mean, look, Joe Walsh is Joe Walsh. Nobody can really. He's a unique character and an original hero of rock and roll. I mean, that James Gang. I mean, I was watching some video of him in the James Gang, and the guy was brilliant in those days. Brilliant,
James Gang Rides Again is a great album. I still listen to it.
My high school, when I was a sophomore at Akron Firestone High School, the James Gang played at the prom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when the Eagles broke up, I was down at a park and he was playing his band. Now he's already been in the Eagles, and the Eagle broke up, and the best he could do was get a job playing in the park. I mean, it was like insane. And now, of course, he's back to the Eagles, and the Eagles, but that happens sometimes. But some of the, another great group of cover bands, some of these Beatle cover bands are unbelievable. I was watching one on YouTube the other day. So I think there's a band called Rain that's a Beatle band that's really, really super good, and then there's another one I think called the Beatles Revisited or something like that. They're really good. But there's a lot of great cover bands, and especially once you get out of the United States where there's not pro talent everywhere, or should I say not pro talent, but famous pro talent. Right. Then there's a lot of cover bands here that you can go see. I've seen a couple of ABBA bands that are pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
What about Brick Floyd? That's a very famous. I mean,
how about Les Zeppelin? Good. What about Les Zeppelin? Did you see that girl band that does Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, that's
really good.
Band. Yeah,
they're very good.
Amazing. They are truly amazing.
How about Hayseed Dixie?
What?
Who?
Hayseed Dixie.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I got to look that up.
All right, boys and girls and children of all ages, we're getting to the end of our time online with streaming services. Yeah. I want to thank everybody for joining us for our 250th show. If I was smart right now, I'd be playing the theme song, but I'm not so smart. So, I'll just add it in when I edit the show. I just gave away my secret.
Because you can.
Yes, because I can. That's right, because I can. Anyway, if anybody has anything that they do want to say right now for the general public, now would be the time.
Who wants to come help me pack boxes?
Now you'll know who your really true friends are. That's it. Exactly. When you get somebody to help you move, man, they love you.
Yeah.
You just have to buy the ticket, Greg. That's all it takes.
In most cases, Greg, they'd rather give you a kidney, than help you move,
Yeah.
In my defense, I'm 2,000 miles away, so.
Yeah, he'll pay for you to come.
Yeah, no, that came up in Fred. That came up in a conversation today with me and Robert, and he said, he said 5 figures minimum. And plus you pay my hourly rate.
Well, look, I want to say one thing before we go off the air, and I'm going to do this. I'm just letting you guys know who have watched the show, and now we're coming to the end of the time. And I want to say this one thing. Those who've been following us know that I have been fighting prostate cancer. And I got the greatest news that anyone could get as a prostate cancer patient, that you are cancer free. And so as of Monday, I was officially notified that I am cancer free. So if anyone in this room or anyone who's listening to us, make sure you get your PSA test done regularly. That's the only thing I can say to you. If you don't want to die of prostate cancer, get your prostate checked. Go get a PSA. It's a simple blood test. And that is all I have to say about it. So thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Remember, you make it happen. Everything you heard today was opinion, except for my last statement. That is fact, and that you could take to the bank with you. So anyway, without any further ado, we will see you again next week for our 250th show, 251st show. And remember, you make it happen. So have a great week and make it happen, and stay safe and healthy, my friends. And we are now off